Hi, my name is Scott Bishop, and I'm the owner of Factory Direct Copper and Granite. And Eric from BestLink asked me to put together a short video, demonstration video on how to operate the stamping machine. I actually own a granite fabrication company, and as part of that process, we have lots and lots of remnants. You can kind of see behind me the pieces that are left over from when we're doing granite countertops. And what I wanted to do is create a process or get a machine that can take those bigger pieces and stamp them into shapes. And as part of you probably already know that you can use them either for like a patio, walkways, you can do them for backsplashes, you can even make fire pits out of them. So what I'd like to try to do is share with you a little bit of the features and how to operate that stamping machine. What I'll try to do is share with you some of the features and parts to the machine. When it gets shipped to you, it'll be in a big wooden crate, which of course you'll undo, and you'll find that there's two main areas. The first one contains the motor and the hydraulic fluid reservoir, and the second one is the actual machine itself. And one thing you'll notice is that this is really a well-built machine. It may not be as fancy as some of the other ones. It may not have all the little bells and whistles, but this is built to last. I've had mine for about 2.5 years now, and we've stamped a lot of pavers. With that in mind, it's pretty straightforward. Has the main power button. When you get it, your local electrician will actually do that final pigtail connection depending on your location. Obviously, I'm in the United States, and our electrical requirements are maybe a little bit different than in Australia or Europe or somewhere else. But with that in mind, the operation is pretty straightforward. You're going to start the pump, you'll stop the pump, obviously an emergency switch, which is always nice, and then there's an automatic or a manual. We keep ours on automatic, which basically says that as the stamping machine comes down, it'll actually stop once it hits this trigger and then go back up. And that, I think, is the safest method of doing it. In our local area, because I own a granite fabrication company, we have lots of 3-centimeter remnants that are left over from the fabrication of kitchen countertops. And with that in mind, we bought this machine with the idea of actually taking those bigger remnant pieces and creating pavers out of them. There's a lot of different shapes and sizes you can find molds for that the factory produces. We have probably 4 or 5 that we use most of the time. And the one that we're doing right now is for a fire pit area. And so the mold that I have in here now will create out of a remnant piece one of these shapes. Obviously, they get put in a circle, 10 high, approximately 100 of these pavers, create one fire pit. And we sell them both on the individual basis and also to other companies that then retail them to their customers. So with that in mind, I'll go ahead and start the machine, and it's obviously pretty basic. And as you see, it does create a little bit of noise, but nothing compared to what you would think it would be. Obviously, you're always supposed to have your safety gear, and it is a good idea to use it, even though I make fun of it. Just some quick safety glasses, some gloves. And what you'll see is that there's a mold, there's a top part and a bottom part. So each mold that you get is going to have 2 parts to it. So you'll take your remnant, in this case, this piece right here, line it up. And it creates a shape. Obviously, it's very, very simple. It's not very loud at all. In fact, I have my 2 younger kids, one's a girl and one's a boy, 12 and 13 years old, and they're able to operate the machine real easily. I'll give you an idea. When you're done, obviously you're just going to turn it off and you're good to go. It's a reduction process, and so some of these smaller pieces that I'm throwing away now, we actually have over there other dies that are a smaller format that you can still reuse. Some of the pieces that are too small to create a fire pit paver, you can still create a paver that's different shapes, 4x4. There's a fan, there's some other ones that may be important to your local market. So with that in mind, I'll show you now a close-up of the operation over here. Over here is very, very basic. It's up and down. And so saw me do earlier is just pushing this down button and the machine comes down, breaks or creates the shape, and then automatically goes back up. So it's pretty straightforward. Now what I did do, I don't know if you can actually aim down, I actually created a platform for ours. For me, I'm relatively tall, I'm 6'2", and it was a little bit too short for me from a comfort standpoint. So I created a platform in order to raise the height, to make it more comfortable to put the pieces in and out. So with that in mind, if you can actually get a close-up, you'll see the actual two molds. There's one on the top, and there's one on the bottom. They're held in place by the clamps, and then they're bolted on the top. So it takes about, between 3 and 6 minutes to change out the molds. So it's not a very difficult or complex process. But typically when we run our molds, we'll run the same shape for an extended period of time until we have a lot of inventory. Then we'll switch them out and go on to a secondary mold. One thing that's also nice about this, and we don't actually use the feature yet very much, it actually has a foot operated control. The one advantage of that is that when you're operating the machine, and if they're bigger pieces, if you get good at it and you have them in there, you could use the foot process instead of taking your hand off to push the button. Right now, the way we do it is just with our hands in place, and that works out pretty good. What I'll do is a close-up of the operation of the machine. So again, you put a remnant inside of it. I'm going to turn the machine on. And then you're going to be able to see it in operation. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. Today I was able to share with you some of the basic features of that BestLink stamping mold machine. They've got a lot of different machines, different capabilities, both on even smaller than this and significantly larger. But for day-to-day operations for a granite fabricator trying to get rid of their remnants, this is a great product at a great price. Have a great day.